Hello. Before we start today's episode, if you would like a condensed version of what I'm talking about in this podcast, go ahead and subscribe to the Perfectionist Guide. You can read the entire thing in 3 minutes or less. To access this, go to CourtneyLoveGavin.com/newsletter. Are you a bit of a perfectionist, type A, hyper performer? Then you know
what it is like when your perfectionism is a constant god-awful companion.
But it doesn't have to be. If you are ready to burn bright instead of burning out, to lead without losing yourself, and to enjoy the life you have worked so hard to create, then keep listening. I'm your host, America's leader on rewiring perfectionism, CLG, and this is Perfectionism Rewired, the podcast. Welcome to Perfectionism Rewired. Today we are talking about perfectionist sunk cost fallacy. Before we go into finding your perfect match in a therapist, coach, clinician, it is mission critical. I let you in on 2 lethal landmines for perfectionistic people that you want to be aware of. These are the ones that I wish I was aware of earlier. Now that I am, it's completely changed the game. The 2 lethal landmines are the perfectionist sunk cost fallacy and medical gaslighting. The next episode, I'm going to give you the 411 on medical gaslighting. This episode is giving you the T on sunk cost fallacy, also known as sunk cost effect. When you are in the sunk cost fallacy, you are operating and you are making choices for where you are, and where you are is not where you would like to be if you could put yourself anywhere. It's called the sunk cost fallacy because it is impossible to get resources back that have already been invested. Economic theory implies smart decision makers. Everyone who listens to this podcast, if you're listening to Perfectionism Rewired, you are a smart decision maker. That is a fact. That is truth. And your decisions as a smart decision maker need to be looking at where you are right now and where you want to go. When it comes to sunk cost fallacy, the sunk cost effect, you will wear clothes that you would not rebuy for yourself today because these clothes are expensive. Or it could be that you want to be back at your pre-baby size. You will squeeze and punish yourself. I would be driving sometimes and I would have to unbutton my pants. I would feel just really stressed out because things were so tight. But I would tell myself, at the time, this was before I was rewired and when I was a very unleveraged perfectionist, I would tell myself, you don't deserve new clothes. Are you wearing clothes right now that you don't like or don't fit? Maybe they're too big, but you're thinking, oh, but I always regain the weight. This is a good one. I always regain the weight. I've lost and gained the same 50 pounds 50 times. That's another sunk cost fallacy. You're going back to the past. I bet $1 million that you don't want to regain the 50 pounds 51 times. I don't think that you're doing that for joy and leisure. And if you are, let's talk. Let's get you some more empowering and healthy activities. I felt that way for a long time. I lost 50 pounds. That was one of the first times that I leveraged my perfectionism as an experiment. For more on that, you can go to my Instagram archive. I have a video where I talk all about it. If you're holding on to things because you're well, I paid money for this, candidly, it's yeah, but what you're forgetting is your intelligent energy accounting, which is something that I teach you inside Perfectionism Leverage, which is the cost that it's actually costing you now. If you're telling me, no, I need to sell these things because I need to buy my baby diapers, that is a lie. Maybe you desire money, but I'm telling you, you are effing talented. You might think, oh, CLG, you just don't understand because you have generational wealth. No trust funds here. Or, oh, you don't understand because you have a partner that pays for everything. No. Every opportunity I have paved the way for myself. Nothing has ever been handed to me. Or you don't understand because things are just easy for you. Dead wrong again.
That's why I do this podcast, because everything was so effing difficult for me to like figure out. It's like, oh, now I get it. An example of sunk cost fallacy: if you are not making the amount of money that you want to be making, and money is a limiter for you instead of an expander, it's just a matter of you being resourceful instead of looking at your resources. I just got an inquiry from a doctor. They asked if I had any cheaper courses, which I don't sell courses, but a lot of the time, because my pricing is so reasonable for one-on-one coaching, people think it's a 6-week course, and it's not. It is tailored one-on-one coaching with me. It is a steal of a deal. So you want to go to CourtneyLoveBavin.com/contact and be like, I'm interested. Look, I get it, okay? Like, I had the sunk cost fallacy. I stayed in unhealthy relationships because we had been together for so long. I stayed in careers where I was uninspired for way longer than I was actually happy. And I continued to have more unhappy years. I thought that maybe if I switch industries, I would have the novelty of like, oh, okay, I'm doing luxury hospitality and tourism PR and working with Hotel Nobu. I had switched, and right away, it was not what I expected, but I stayed because I believed the sunk cost fallacy of give it a year or two. Just because you have poured your time, energy, attention, effort, or money into something, it does not mean, oh, let's pour more in. You had a bad investment and now you're throwing good money into it. This even happened during the Vietnam War. There was a US commander that famously said he couldn't pull troops out because then the soldiers who already died had done so in vain. So rather than looking at where we are now and like, maybe it wasn't that good of an idea for us to Vietnam, and focusing on what is the future outcome that they want, to lose less of the brave people of our country that go overseas. Instead, this commander advocated for a path that ultimately led to even more lives lost. If you're at all familiar with cognitive distortions and cognitive biases, the sunk cost fallacy is one of those. I like to call it the perspectacle that makes it so that if you put your hands up to the side of your face, you are like blind to like all the possibilities that are in front of you. And it makes perfectionists feel as though it is a good idea to continue pouring money, time, or effort into a situation because you've already sunk or you've already invested so much time into it already. This perceived sunk cost blinds you and binds you from pivoting, since you don't want to see your resources, I'm using air quotes here, wasted. My first business as an entrepreneur, I started when I was working 90 hours a week, leading global public relations for a $550 million entertainment studio. So like, I was busy, but I was not fulfilled. I found a podcast, and this woman was a full-time corporate lawyer before she was a successful creative entrepreneur. I resonated a lot with that because like she was talking about crazy hours that she worked. I was like, okay, me too. And so I signed up for the mastermind. I paid all at once up front. And it was in a Facebook group, which wasn't disclosed. Putting anything in a Facebook group, in my opinion, it's like having a Michelin star restaurant inside a porta potty. It's like the food might be great, but the environment sucks. So it was on Facebook. I realized this is not what I thought I signed up for. I emailed the woman who did this mastermind, asked her and stuff about it. And because she was a former corporate lawyer, she was like, you know, I said in the contract that you signed that like the marketing is not necessarily a reflection of what you will receive. And she's like, I'm fulfilling my contract, which like, you know, fulfilling her contract was like, I will do 1 hour live workshop on a topic of my choosing every month. Like it was like bare effing minimum. And I realized then I was like, I'm not getting what my goals are from this mastermind. And I was still working full time. Like I was traveling to New York every other week for a week at a time. Every single minute was like, I wanted to maximize. And so I left the group. I could have been righteous about it. Someone back on the Oprah Winfrey show back in the day said, you being righteous or you doing something to prove a point is literally the same thing as you swallowing poison, because that's what sunk cost fallacy is. It's the same thing as you taking poison and expecting the other person to die. I don't know about you, but that's something that has stuck with me for 30 years now, helped me so much with being able to let go of sunk cost fallacy. Now I ask questions ahead of time just to be clear. And I don't say, because I got screwed over, because like that is such a disempowering stance that puts you in the victim triangle. You're villainizing that person, and then you're looking for someone new to be your rescue ranger. I go in ahead of time with any investment that I make, money or not, about this is the outcome that I'm looking for. This is the future that I'm looking for. Staying put is punitive and it is plain small. The only time that it's wasted is when you decide to be wasteful. Instead, just look at it as that's the tuition that I paid for that lesson. Now that I know that, I'm not going to repeat it in the future. And here's how I know that I'm not going to repeat it in the future. You ask yourself those questions. And if you don't know those questions to ask, I didn't know either. We're not taught this stuff. That's why you hire a perfectionism coach, so they can elevate your perspective in the way that you are operating. As perfectionists and perfectionistic people, we are way more likely to fall prey to the sunk cost fallacy because the impact of the loss feels worse than the prospect and possibility of what you'll gain, of what you could have in the future. And so you keep making decisions based on the past cost instead of what's actually beneficial to you now and the future that you want. We are conditioned to embrace perseverance. Never quit, never give up. Only you know the right path for you. And what was the right path for you then is often no longer the right path for you now. It would literally be like if you are making your kid wear shoes that were too small because you made them yourself and you were like, I hand woven these moccasins for you, so you need to wear them. I don't care if it's making your feet bend all weird. Or if you were like, I paid a lot of money for these baby Gucci loafers, or you need to wear these because your grandma gave you these baby Gucci loafers, or I spent so much time hunting down these baby Gucci loafers at the estate sale. Like, no, you wouldn't do that. Every tool can become a weapon. That is totally true for perseverance. Perseverance can turn into punitive when it's no longer serving you. Sometimes I will coach clients on this. They are unlearning how to run away when things get tough. They're like, I just peace out. Maybe used to be their modus operandi. This is where the EPIC framework, embodied, presence, interoceptive, connection, having that sense of self and being grounded, you can actually tune in to your intuition. You can tune in to your own signals and you can trust yourself to make quick decisions. That is one of the many, many benefits that's proven scientifically of having interoceptive awareness and interoceptive acuity with yourself, is that you can make quick, correct, right decisions for you. So you are no longer living in purgatory and saying, I'm going to get to it at the end of January. You're just like, nope. CLG, whatever day you are listening to this, you could be listening to this in 2024, 2025, but this podcast, I'm recording at the beginning of December 2023. This right here, it's like, oh no, today, I'll just do that. And if you are a little bit wobbly on yourself, then you're going to love the episodes that are coming because I'm going to be giving you all of the red flags you might have painted green, and the green flags when it comes to picking the right practitioner for you as a perfectionist to help you, whether that is a therapist, a psychotherapist, a coach, a counselor. I joke with clients inside of Perfectionism Leverage that when we're playing in our past, you're in a effing mausoleum, a mausoleum like where they bury dead people. It's very safe to date a corpse. That's what happens when we're living in the prison of the choices you made an hour ago. If you realize right now that the path that you're on is no longer the right one, or maybe it never was, if you want your future, forget your past. Walk towards what you want, even if you don't have it in your hand. Because what you look for, you will find, always. It is a scientific fact about how human brains work, especially perfectionistic ones like ours. Like, I know you and who you are at your core. You are all about what's possible, having a vision, being a leader, and bringing the ideal into the real. You're here to play on the possibility playground and not to live in a punishment, punitive prison, a prison of yesterday. An action step for you to ask yourself is the most important thing to you cost? Is the most important thing to you the past? Is the most important thing to you being quote unquote right? Or is it to be happy? Or is it to quit fighting against yourself forever? Is it for you to honor the value of money above all else? Or is it what your actual values are? To look at the way that you're operating right now Is it a mismatch in values? If you are thinking like, okay, sunk cost fallacy, CLG, I was going to stick it out with my therapist, but now I realize that this is not working and I want to empower myself. I asked myself those key questions and this is not in line with my values and money is not my most important value. And I would not choose the path that I'm on right now if all things were equal. Like if you were like CLG, if we were to rewind 6 months and I knew about you and perfectionism leveraged my one-on-one coaching program, you would go with that and you wouldn't be pouring all of the money, time, energy, and effort into your psychiatrist, your psychologist, your therapist, another course. If you are thinking this might be a good fit, I wanted to share with you some of the awesome texts that I have received from clients over Thanksgiving break. This is from Charlotte, who said, I knew coaching with CLG, well, she said coaching with you, but yeah, so I will read it verbatim. She said, I knew coaching with you would help me feel a bit better, but I had no effing idea how much it would change my life in the ways that it has. I am focused, calm, less anxious, and I prioritize myself. And now I live each day with intention. Charlotte now does the things that they dreamt of doing, but never could find the time to do before coaching with me inside of Perfectionism Leveraged. And Charlotte is no longer a victim to chronic overachieving, busyness, and maladaptive perfectionism. The last one I'm going to read you, I think last one, I have 3 more. Maybe I'll just read them all. I'm just going to read all the ones I got over Thanksgiving from clients. This is from Tasha. And she said, I've been working with you for a month and I already feel a million times better. Every session we have, I learn so much about why I do what I do. I no longer feel defeated and exhausted all the time. My anxiety has calmed down so much, all caps. So much was in all caps. That's from Tasha. I'm proud, like so proud of all of these clients, these perfectionistic people that I partner with. This is from Cassie. She said, I cannot believe how well this interoceptive stuff works. Now I know my success in enjoying my life is inevitable. And the wildest part is this is actually fun. And then she did one of those, someone doing a cartwheel emoji. And then the last one is from Leland, who said, I feel like you're my own personal genie. I feel so heard and understood by you. I barely recognized the perfectionist I was when we began working together. And I started working with Leland. Oh, and then she did like, I think it's a genie. It's a genie emoji. I thought it was a mermaid. I don't have my glasses on. This is from Leland. She joined Perfectionism Leveraged in September of this year. That just shows that like when you learn how to leverage your perfectionism and you understand the EPIC framework, it's like someone just handed you the keys of the universe. Once you have them for life. Nobody teaches us this in school and university and getting your doctorate. A lot of clients that come to me that work in medicine and they're like, I am a head of this department at a university and I have my own practice and I didn't even know the stuff that you're teaching me here, CLG. So if you don't know about this, if you're like Intero what, you are an excellent company and exactly the right place. Let's just make it so that you can be present with the people that you love and that you can fall asleep at night and feel proud of yourself regardless of how much you did or didn't do. And make it so that you can be a role model for the tiny humans in your life and your community and the people around you, that you can be one of those people that's like, what is their secret? Because they are on fire. Yes, that can be you. If that's you, I invite you to join me and all of these awesome perfectionists that I just told you about. You can do that by clicking the link in the show notes or by going to CourtneyLoveGavin.com. Let's get you feeling as awesome as your life looks.